When your body dies, you live on in spiritual form. That means you retain your identity based on all the knowledge of all your lifetimes. In the spirit world, you communicate with other human spirits who are all on their own path, yet the same path as you, in the act of learning compassion and benevolence through human form. That way you gain spiritual intelligence. Now this connection between all benevolent spirits is the spiritual matter that makes up the spiritual world. That's also called the Holy Spirit, or heaven. Yet people always ask, what do you do in heaven? They imagine sitting on a cloud playing a harp. They don't see it as traveling anywhere around creation in a flash of consciousness. They don't see it as communicating with other spirits. They don't see the most important thing is actually helping people who have reincarnated back into the physical world and are playing the material game here. So when you reincarnate, you have a body who doesn't remember specific events from all the other lifetimes, but your spirit retains the experience or the spiritual age of so many reincarnated lifetimes, so you keep that spiritual knowledge. Everyone essentially has his or her spiritual guide or your own guardian angel because it's your spirit. This is your higher consciousness or your higher power or the inner voice which guides you. Traditionally, the oldest and most benevolent human spirits have been called angels and appear illuminated with conscious light particles, or what is called fine matter, as do all human spirits on the path of evolution here. I will illustrate this so people will be able to comprehend this more. These advanced human spirits remain opposite to what is called demons or twisted human and non-human consciousnesses, which also exist in energy form and are viewable in other light and energy spectrums. Now these demons are a single color of the rainbow to fluctuating colors of the rainbow. For example, they may shift from red to purple to blue, and they are not pure light, because the light has been channeled through a twisted lens or prism via a twisted material or earthly experience. Opposite to that are angels, or beings of higher consciousness who exist in this fine matter world and are of pure light. So your spirit retains your individuality through lifetimes of reincarnations. As long as you evolve, you would always reincarnate back as a human, and you'll always be surrounded by other spirits. You'll know many of them. They'll be your family and loved ones, friends, wives, husbands, because they are people like you, all with their own spirits. So of course there are female spirits who retain the female identity or conscious energy from one life to the next. They are advanced female spirits that they are referred to as angels. Same with us males. The only way you will begin to lose your spirit and your ability to reincarnate is when you begin to set your motivation around greed and corruption and knowingly doing harm to fellow humans for your own personal gain. Then you begin the path of losing touch with your spirit, and your consciousness begins to shift form into a fractured energy consciousness. So it's up to your own actions which cause you to retain or abandon your spirit and your connection with the spiritual world. If you are evil, the Holy Spirit will no longer reflect you. It's as simple as that. So you lose your evolving spirit, and hence you lose your place in heaven or the fine matter world. And you begin the journey of twisting your consciousness into a demonic or macrobe form. Those of you who believe that you could repeat these evil acts but save your soul by confessing over and over again, or belonging to a certain church somehow earns you special brownie points with God, you are living a terrible illusion. You cannot fool the Holy Spirit. It is your conscious actions and not your apologies or your religious allegiances which earn you a place in heaven. Let it be known to everyone. This is why the vampire is shown to lose his or her reflection in the mirror. It's symbolic of losing his or her reflection into the spiritual world, because a vampire chooses to feed off fellow humans as though they were a predatory animal. This is why a shattered reflection means a loss of true spiritual knowledge into who you really are, an evolving spiritual person. This is where corporate religions fail, because they refuse to speak this very simple truth. Also, human spirits don't reincarnate from the animal world, although humans or the human spirit influences animals to act in human ways sometimes, yet only a human can truly be human or inhuman. The individual in developing human consciousness must ultimately choose between siding with good or evil. The animal kingdom remains separate from us by remaining a constant neutrality. While we must either choose to side with good or evil, knowing right from wrong, animals don't do what they do because they are considered good or evil, right or wrong. If a pet monkey or a pet tiger went crazy and hurt their keeper, we wouldn't say it's because the animal hated them or was evil. The animal kingdom is very awesome in that regard. It's completely neutral, unspiteful, without all the so-called sins we have as humans. So in that regard, they are simple and truthful. There's no lie about them. They don't take more than they need, and they don't conspire for greed, and they definitely don't throw the whole world off balance due to their actions. The fine matter world sometimes imitates the spiritual form of animals. These illuminated light particles, which make up the spiritual plane in the fine matter world, will often imitate the forms of animals or birds, etc. We as compassionate human beings are on the opposite side of the spectrum to those who are born with not only intelligence but also the nature of pure evil, such as the Bufath or Draco, only they don't regard it as such. Low frequency vibration is a normal state of mind to them. They are evil because they are evil. They don't choose to be evil, they simply are, from our perspective of naturally higher frequency beings. They understand what they do is wrong from our perspective, but it is not wrong from their perspective. They work with demons and demonic consciousnesses, but this is another subject for a future discussion. Their minds have evolved in a mindset and world so different from ours. They've evolved in a low frequency vibrational state, and they utilize the powers of the destructive side of the force. Human beings who choose to side with them abandon their individual and everlasting spirit which they were born with. As they lose their spirit, what will remain is their twisted and hateful consciousness. And when they die, this consciousness will glob onto the hordes of similar consciousness. They will never be an individual, and they will spend eternity in the afterlife in the most disgusting state as this macrobe or demonic consciousness, or a conglomerate of twisted and evil consciousnesses all stuck together and festering for the centuries to come. This is a diagram of what these shape-shifting squid-like beings appear like in the ether, which is a dimension that overlays ours. They often appear as shape-shifting due to the fact that there are hundreds of twisted consciousnesses together creating one macrobe entity.